Get that fucking trash out of your life. You have legacies to build. We grew that business from 3.4 million to 17.1. Horsepower, not horse shit. You want to be the parent that's an ally. They don't need another fucking friend. Not everybody's cup of whiskey. Toughest advice for the toughest businessmen. Be relentless. I always get a big chuckle out of my dad's story about global cooling. He often tells the story of the Time magazine article way back in the 1970s. Time magazine at the time was a respected publication, and their feature article on the cover was something about global cooling, how the world was facing the next ice age. And it wouldn't be long if we didn't stop doing all the things that we were doing as a society. It wasn't long till polar bears would be roaming the streets of New York City. Google it, look it up, I double dare you. So my dad and mom, being almost 90 years young, they've seen it all. They've seen the Al Gore shows, they've seen the global cooling, the global warming, the oceans rising, the oceans disappearing, the coming ice age in Florida, climate change. They've seen it all. And my dad used to always tease me at the agency. He'd say, how many trees did you kill this week, kid? And he was referring to the thousands and thousands of flyers that we would send every single week. I started sending 500 flyers a month when I began. And when we were in our peak, just before I sold, we were up to 140,000 flyers a month. 140,000 flyers a month. So my dad always enjoyed that. He would see the boxes of flyers. He would see the crates and the cases of flyers. We had somebody that actually delivered the flyers to the post office. There was so many boxes. And my dad would be like, oh man, you are evil. You are the guy who is leading us down the pathway to global cooling, he used to call it. And at the time, Al Gore was doing his dog and pony show with global, what was it called at the time? It was called it was global warming, and then it's become climate change. So lots of good times. But my dad was like tree killer. He goes, don't let your sister see all those boxes, all those trees you're killing. We're down to 40 billion trees in Canada, thanks to you. So we had lots of fun with that. But like one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs misunderstand is it's actually, we didn't start with physical mail building the agency. We didn't start with flyers and postcards. What subsidized that type of marketing, what subsidized the flyers and the postcards, you just don't send 500 postcards or 500 flyers. It's a lot of money. You got to pay postage, you got to pay printing, you got to pay for paper. So, everybody looked at it and they said, oh my God, you mail 140,000 flyers and you mail 9,000 newsletters. Man, oh man, this is quite a direct response marketing machine. But what they failed to understand, it was all built on the back of email. It was all built, the machine was built on the back of email. And what I mean by that is that I didn't have any money. At the start, the first year that I owned McLean Insurance, I was paying my dad $35,000 a month, $35,000 a month for 10 years. And it was 90 days in where I was in trouble financially. I was like, I can't do this. I can't pay that, not every month. I just don't have the money. So email saved my bacon, right? It saved my bacon. I was able to make that third payment like by the skin of my teeth, $35,000.10. I think there was 10 cents left in my account when I made that payment the third month. I never looked back. After that. I started building an email list from scratch. I didn't have a single person. I built the email list up to 100, and then it got up to 200, it got up to 500 people, it got up to 1,000. And at the end, when I sold the company, I had 63,000 people on my active emails on my email list, in my iContact list at the time. And I ended up selling my email list to the company that I sold the agency to for an additional $500,000. It was completely separate. It was after the fact. It was the old Columbo close. It was, okay, you bought the business. By the way, just one more thing. And they literally wrote a check for 500 grand for that email list of 63,000. I think I undersold it. I think I could have got more because they agreed right there. So it's also your walk away into the sunset kind of thing as well. So by building that list from scratch up to 63,000, that subsidized, that paid for all my paper and ink marketing. It paid for my 9,000 newsletters a month. It paid for my 140,000 flyers a month. That's where the money came from, because without that cash flow, without me emailing my list every week, when I would sit down for 10 minutes and write the simple email, sometimes it was a happy Halloween, sometimes it was a Merry Christmas, sometimes it was giving tickets away, movie tickets, theater tickets, sports tickets, whatever it was. I did it 52 times a year. As soon as I pressed send on a Tuesday, the agency would just be flooded with leads, with referrals, with new quote opportunities. And I remember forwarding the emails, because the email replies used to come to me. And I would just forward these like dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of new quotes for home and car to my sales guys. And they're closing about 70% of them. So it was just cash flow. It was peace of mind. It helped me sleep, helped me make my monthly payment, all of those things. But it all started with email. Didn't start with physical mail. I would not have been able to send flyers. I would not have been able to send postcards or to do a monthly newsletter. Cash flow came from the eighth wonder of the world, which is email. Cash flow came from the honey that brings in the money, which was my email list. So that's why it's so critical, important that you understand that it all starts in business when it comes to marketing. With number one, building an email list. You got to start at zero. Some of you guys have starting with thousands, but most people start like me at zero. I started with zero in the barbershop, zero with the hockey team, zero with the insurance business, and you build it up slowly over time, and literally it becomes an asset that will feed you and your family for as long as you live. And if you want to sell it someday, you actually have an asset that somebody will buy. So that's what I did. Email was what fed. It fed our physical mailing, our paper and ink mailing. I couldn't have killed the trees that I killed. I could not have contributed to global cooling if it wasn't for the honey that brought in the money, which was email. So if you want to do a similar thing, if you want to sleep better at night, if you want to, make $500, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 a day, literally sitting in your boxer shorts like I did. I would sit up in my apartment for 10 minutes, 15 minutes and write an email that would literally bring in $500, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. And then when we were mailing to 10,000 people, 50,000 people, it would literally bring in, on average, about $1 per month per person. So when my email list was 500, it would bring in $500 a month. When it was 1,000, it would bring in $1,000 per month. Almost each email was worth $1 per month, which is $12 per year. Think about that. So when I built it up over time to 63,000, I press a button, that's 63K that comes in a month times 12. So you start small like I did with 50 people on it. So I show you how to do it all. I show you how to build the list, the software, and I'll even write the emails for you the first year. So I have a program, a system, a little mastermind I'm putting together for 100 of my friends. You can register. There's a few seats left. Go to emailmillions.coach. Emailmillions.coach. The link is below. It's filling up fast. The deadline is May 31st. So you have just less than 2 weeks. Emailmillions.coach. I can't make it any easier for you. I can't. It's $147 a month for outsiders, civilians. It's $97 a month for insiders. If you're part of my mastermind program, if you're a newsletter subscriber, only 97. That's coffee money, men. That's coffee money. If you're not willing to invest a cup of coffee every day in your business, then you can't really say that you're committed to building your business. You can't. You know, like we're talking about $3.25 a day. Coffee, a couple cups of coffee a day. Email millions.coach. I'll do it all for you. I'll write 52 emails this year that you can personalize. I'll send one to you every week. As long as you're part of the program, you can cancel at any time. If you say after a couple months, Michael, this isn't for me, well, no problem. Just let Leanne know when you're done. But I'm only working with 100 men. Email millions.coach and become, you know what? Whether you decide to get into the physical mail like I did, the flyers, the newsletters, the postcards, you'll have the cash flow to make that decision yourself. I took all the money I made from email. If I made $5,000 extra, I put $5,000 into flyers. If I made $1,000 extra that month, I put $1,000 into that niche market postcard campaign. You may only want to put, 25% or 50%. You might want to use some of the money to, take a vacation or buy a golf membership or take your kids somewhere. Whatever you want to do, it's cash flow every month. It trickles in. Every month, the metric is about $1 a head. So once you get your list up to 500, that's $500 a month minimum. If you're no good at it, it's $500 a month. So building your list, it's the most incredible thing when it comes to peace of mind. So email millions.coach. I'll help you become an awesome tree killer, and you can also contribute to global cooling like I did, like my dad did, and like all us other evil entrepreneurs have done. Could be global warming, could be global cooling, could be climate change, it could be polar ice caps, it could be that lake behind me. So we've only been out here 15 years, but we get emails from the Lake Association, and so there's no water for 10 years ago. Now there's too much water. There's this, there's that. I don't know. I can't keep up to it, but I can certainly help you keep up when it comes to email, the honey that brings in the money. Go apply now at emailmillions.coach.